How is Thomas with Believe in the Run?
Is Robbe with Believe in the Run?
You love the Skechers.
People were giving the capital S shade, Skechers S shade on Skechers lately, but I'll keep preaching the gospel, I don't care.
Do you know what I almost did on your last review when we were publishing it? I almost put a T in it just to piss you off in the description to see if you'd see it.
I still check it every time. Most people still put the T in there. There's no T in Skechers.
Yeah.
I don't know why I care if you put it in there.
We're on to one of your favorite shoes. I think that nobody's lobbied harder for the Max Road to be a top shoe in the previous years of Believe in the Run's top picks for the entire year. You were living in the shoe.
The Max Road 5 from 2 years ago was probably one of my favorite shoes that year. I thought the ride was just the perfect encapsulation of everything I wanted in a running shoe. And then we got this version, the Max Road 6, which is the most maximum maxed out max.
You can't get more max than this. You probably could.
I guess you could, but I don't know if you would want to.
I mean, it's max in a lot of categories, and we'll go over that here in a second.
Yeah,
but
yeah. So as you can guess, this is probably one of their comfort shoes. You still get that nice bounce and everything, but it's meant for those longer miles.
Would you say shoes that you compare it to would be like the Bondi X?
Right. Yeah.
Stuff like that from Hoka, that like max cush feeling.
Exactly. New Balance SC Train or something like that.
Oh, I was thinking more New Balance More.
Or more, yeah, either way. But let's get into maybe some of the upper. Thomas, what do you think about this?
You know, I would say that sometimes I've given Skechers a little bit of a downgrade on their shoes because the upper seem to sometimes be a little bit on the like mailing it inside. Like maybe it doesn't hug the foot just right, the materials feel cheap. But I have to say on this one, I really like this engineered mesh upper. It fits well. They did a really nice job everywhere from the tongue all the way to the heel counter, and the throat here is just nice and padded. Comfort wise, you really can't beat this upper.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go full comfort, you might as well go full comfort, and this is exactly what this upper does. Same thing, I've always had problems with Skechers uppers. It seems like an afterthought in all their shoes. Yeah, this one, I feel like they finally fixed it. Probably adds a little bit of weight, but I'm okay with it.
It's almost like the tongue is like a memory foam pillow.
Yeah, it's real plush.
And even the collar here is really well padded. The shoe fits. I didn't have any heel lift problems. The lockdown over the throat is amazing. I like the vamp here with the toe box. It had plenty of room.
The midsole here is Hyperburst Ice, which is kind of Skechers' newest version of Hyperburst.
I have to say, of all the supercritical foams out there, I feel like Skechers has owned the space with the best foams on the market for the supercritical.
We said this in the review for the Ride 11, Go Run Ride 11. Sorry, there's like 54 ride shoes out there, so I have to say Go Run in front of it. Yeah. It's still dumb. You're right, the Hyperburst is probably the best formulation of nitrogen-infused foam that anybody has. And I don't know what the ice means. I don't know if it's actually softer.
I don't know. Is this a dual one though, like we saw before, like with the two pucks?
As far as I know, it's a singular midsole, but you know, that's all the data had to go on. So I don't have my X-ray vision on, so I can't tell.
Well, if you had X-ray vision, you'd probably see an H plate in this.
So the midsole stack's insane in this shoe. It's 41 millimeters in the heel, 35 millimeters in the forefoot. It actually looks even higher on the outside.
It does, but I think it cups it in a little bit.
Yeah. Your foot does sit down nicely in there. What are your thoughts on the midsole, which by the way also has that H plate? I still don't understand the purpose of it, but maybe you can explain.
It's two pieces, kind of like an H. So it's not like one plate that's giving you that.
Like that.
Yeah.
Wait.
No, if you had, it is kind of like that, but it
like
would extend all the way down. So it's two independent parts, but they're not really wide enough to really create that punch off. I think it does probably give the shoe a little bit of toe off pop. This shoe doesn't, you're not going fast in it, so you're not really gonna utilize
it's weird.
A plate.
Yeah, it's weird because they put that H plate in a lot of, like every shoe now. And it's shoes that clearly are not meant for any, like don't even need the stability or the speed from a plate, so I'm not sure. I think they just like putting it in there. It probably cost them like 50 cents.
They've changed the name of their rocker a lot in the midsole. It used to be the M Strike, now it's Arch Fit.
Well, that's a Hyper Arc. They call it Hyper Arc.
Yeah, Skechers loves the rocker. I love the rocker. It really works well in this shoe. We'll get to the weight here in a minute, but for a shoe of its weight, it rolls through the stride pretty well. But it's one of those shoes that you can go long distance in.
I mean, you can go forever in this shoe, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, if you were wearing this for a crazy road ultra, like a 100-miler, you could, I mean...
There might be one reason I wouldn't, but we'll get to that in a sec.
Okay.
But you got to tell them about the secret formula on the bottom here.
Oh, yeah. Well, they have a Goodyear outsole rubber, which it's a generous layer of it, too. I mean, this thing is going to last forever. And it's different than the last one that had those, like, Pac-Man style pills. I feel like this is just kind of nice. Has these flex grooves here. It gives you a little bit of nice transition. Yeah, same thing. I love the ride of the shoe for those longer miles. Just like, it's such a good feeling rocker mixed with max cushion, mixed with bounce. It's just everything that you like in a max cushion
But you're
shoe.
not going with speed in this sucker.
Absolutely not. So that was the weird thing, is that the Max Road 5, you kind of could pick it up because it weighed, I think, almost 2 ounces less than this version, and it was 1.5 ounces for sure.
Did the ride become the Max Road?
Yeah, so I think exactly the Go Run Ride 11, which we loved and reviewed. I feel like that's the new Max Road, the old Max Road in a new version. Yeah, this one. It has the same elements of the Max Road 5, just done a little bit better maybe. And then this is just a whole different shoe.
This is. But I mean, where can you go with it? This is the Ultra.
This is the Max Road. I mean, I feel like this actually lives up to the name more than the last couple versions of the shoe did. The last two versions weren't that max. I mean,
this
maybe
one's
for the
max
time, but this is definitely as max as you can get.
All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about some things that we don't like about the shoe. Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, the weight is 12 ounces. For your 10.5, 12 ounces, 340 grams. Pretty heavy. You're getting.
It's almost a deal breaker for me. Like, once it gets past, it has to have some sort of redeeming quality to get me past 11 ounces. And this one's a whole ounce heavier than like my 11 ounce. If I was somebody who was like just wanted a really comfortable walking shoe, maybe someone who wants to go long but doesn't want to worry about pace, this is that type of shoe. But as soon as like I couldn't use this as a daily trainer because like I would want to pick up the pace sometimes, and I don't feel like this shoe facilitates that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Like, there's some shoes that just feel heavy and clunky.
This doesn't feel clunky.
No, it doesn't feel clunky. I think because you have that hyper arc rocker.
And some bounce out of this ice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great midsole, so it does give you that bounce and roll. We forgot to mention the arch. What are your thoughts on the arch? Because it is pretty pronounced.
I have a high arch, so I love a bump in the arch. Like, I'm that guy when everybody's complaining about a Nike shoe having too much of an arch, like in the Infinity, stuff like that. I like that. Like, it feels good to me to have support underneath the arch.
I mean, I didn't have an issue either, but I think that is something that I've seen a lot of people mention with the ride. And this is that the Skechers arch fit is pretty, I'd say it's one of the more prominent, aggressive arches.
You know what's crazy about that though? Like all the people, like when I see ads for like insoles that like aftermarket insoles are like arch support,
right.
arch support. So maybe you're supposed to have arch support.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't bother you, go for it.
Robbie, the one thing that is a total redeemer for this shoe though, like I don't care. You're not gonna find a more cushion max shoe at the price point.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, this is $129, which is really, when it comes down to it, I mean, with this outsole rubber, and we know that the Skechers midsoles last a really long time, you're gonna get your money's worth for sure.
So I compared to the Bondi X earlier in the program, this shoe does have that feeling, has that kind of, and the weight is maybe a little more than that. That shoe's over $200.
Exactly, so you're pretty much getting something quite similar for that same price point. And look, all you have to do is do this, and it's a Hoka.
All right, so Robbie, you gotta tell me, what color is this shoe getting?
I mean, I'm still giving this shoe a green. I think it's a really good shoe. I think if you buy this for what it is, long run shoe, easy day shoe, I think you're gonna love it.
I'm gonna throw this in for walkers.
Or walkers, yeah.
Like,
walkers, Texas Rangers, anyone in that group.
If you have a problem with Skechers and you just don't look down, you're gonna be like, oh, this shoe feels great.
That's the thing, if Skechers could somehow just make the whole world go blind, an eye for an eye, do it that way, I feel like people would be on the bandwagon. They'd be in.
It's not gonna be my first choice for a max cushion shoe, mostly because of the weight. I think that you're getting cushion in shoes like the Asics Nimbus, and you're gonna see in the 1080 that's coming up from New Balance that you get this max cushion with a lower weight shoe.
I do feel like for $130, you're really getting a good deal here.
If you agree with Robbe, give this video a like. If you really agree, go ahead and subscribe, see all our videos. We have a weekly newsletter that lets you know what's coming out, what's coming up, all the information, and some witty commentary from Robbe, as well as 2 podcasts, The Drop and Fuel for the Soul. One's about nutrition, the other one, what's it about, Robbe?
Nonsense,
yeah.
As you can tell from this video.
All right, so check it out, and we're always on Instagram, Believe in the Run.
All right,
See you.
Well, eye for an eye, but the saying eye for an eye makes everyone go blind. That's not. That's a difference.
Somebody else figured that out.
Yeah.
I wonder how they figured that out.
Hammurabi? I think that's. Yeah. Oh, my name's in that. Okay.